Officer. All right. Good evening and welcome to tonight's County Commissioner meeting of Anson County Board of Commissioners. I want to welcome everyone in the crowd here tonight and everyone watching on the live stream. We're going to start tonight with our invocation, and I'm going to ask, I can't see everyone in the audience, is Pastor Dennis Stigall in the audience? All right. I don't believe he's here, so we're going to ask Commissioner Woodburn if he will lead our invocation.
Mr. Chairman. Mic's not working.
Test.
Let us pray. Dear Heavenly Father, we come before you in the precious name of your Son, Jesus. We thank you, Lord, for everyone gathered here under the sound of my voice. We're thankful for the citizens that have enough interest to come out and be here with us and participate if they feel the desire. We're thankful for all of the commissioners, and we ask that you just be with us, Lord. Help us to keep clear hearts, open minds, and compassionate feelings as we deal with the business of Anson County. Please, and all of the blessed we ask in your name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Commissioner Woodburn, for that. All right, first I'm going to read our ethics statement. So, in accordance with the State Government Ethics Act, it is the duty of every board member to avoid both conflicts of interest and appearances of conflict. Does any board member have any known conflict of interest or appearance of conflict with respect to any matter coming before the board? If so, please identify the conflict and refrain from any undue participation in the particular matter involved. So this time, I'm going to ask for a recusal from the board as I have a conflict with our first public hearing that we'll deal with tonight. So can I have a motion to...
So moved.
Second.
Have a motion by Commissioner Gatewood, second by Commissioner Mims or Commissioner Little Reed. Any discussion on that? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
Mr. Johnson says he can't hear.
What? Can our IT staff hear in the back? Is our mic working? Ms. Jackson, can you hear us in the back? I mean, Keisha, I'm sorry. You can hear us? Okay. Yeah, the mic seems to be working on our end up here. Okay, so the motion passed for the recusal for myself. We do need to approve the agenda, so do I hear a motion to approve the agenda as presented?
So moved.
Second.
Have a motion by Commissioner Mims, second by Commissioner Gatewood. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right, thank you. So, all right, at this time, I'm going to turn it over to Vice Chair Mims to conduct the public hearing.
We have a legislative hearing to consider regarding a proposed zoning map amendment identified as ZMA 25-0002. At this time, can I have a motion to go into public hearing?
So moved.
Got a motion by Commissioner Gatewood, second by Commissioner Little Reed. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. We're now in public hearing. We're now here from Mr. Nick Addison, the Anson County Planning Director.
Quiet real quick. Okay, so now that it's up and running, so this is a public hearing for a zoning map amendment identified as ZMA 25-0002. So this is a legislative hearing. So in a legislative hearing, there's no sworn testimony. It's all unsworn. Facts and opinions can be offered. And any decision is rendered on a simple majority. As we go through a zoning map amendment, one thing commissioners have to keep in mind is at the end there will have to be a statement of plan consistency and reasonableness. And this can be done in a single statement, but what it needs to demonstrate is that you as commissioners have considered how this action aligns with the land use plan, and then whether you find it reasonable given the characteristics of the proposal and where it's located and those sorts of things. So this particular issue is a request to rezone a approximately 6.12 acre portion of a larger tract, which is approximately 99 acres, but to rezone only a 6 acre portion from light industrial to medium density residential, which is also identified as R20. So with any straight rezoning request, there's no conditions placed on it, so that means they could pursue anything that's approved in an R20, so there's no conditions. So this is the property in question, and it's also here on the easel, but the yellow outline is the parcel in total. Like I said, it's approximately 99 acres. The portion of that parcel seeking to be rezoned is the portions indicated in the yellow hash marks at the top. Like I said, approximately 6 acres, seeking to be rezoned to R20. So these are the site conditions as they exist currently. What you'll notice is where that 6 acres occurs is predominantly rural, agricultural, and residential in existing land uses. And this is just an aerial to give you an idea of the site from a bird's eye view. So, like I alluded to earlier, one thing we have to consider is whether or not it aligns with the land use plan. So our 2040 land use plan identified that parcel in totality actually as a suburban commercial land use area. Suburban commercial land use areas are usually for serving the daily needs of that community. So it could be things, a small convenience store, gas station, that sort of thing, but generally not residential. Now, you know, the land use plan predates my time with the county, and so all I can do is infer as to why it was placed in that status, but my assumption would be just generally due to the proximity it has to US Highway 74 and the Anson-Union County line. Another thing we want to do when we go through a rezoning process is determine, is this proposal consistent with existing land uses? We don't want to create any more issues. And I would say that given the current existing land uses being residential and agricultural in nature, that it wouldn't pose any issues for existing land uses in that region. I would say, you know, a rezoning of that sort from light industrial to R20, I mean, you're going to lose the access it has to industrial development, but you're going to gain access to residential development. So the planning board heard this proposal on January 9th, and they voted a recommendation of approval unanimously, 6-0. And then from the planning staff, we recommend a approval as well, giving the existing land uses of the region and potential for economic and residential growth such a rezoning would provide. And so at this time, if the commissioners would like, we can turn this over to public comments.
At this time, will there be any public comments? Are there any questions or comments from the commissioners?
No.
Vice Chairman, just a comment.
I understand what this change is doing, but do we need to do anything with the land use plan so that they're both consistent?
No, sir, statute indicates that when we take an action that is inconsistent with the land use plan, you or commissioners are also saying that you are amending the land use plan, and that any future land use plans will indicate that change as well.
So in other words, the land use plan will be automatically updated to fit this?
Yes, sir, that's
Okay, thank
correct.
Anybody else?
I have a question. What is the definition of medium density out here?
Medium density, residential R20, the biggest thing is that lots would need to be 20,000 square feet. That's what the 20 in the R20 stands for.
Okay.
So it's just a defining of how dense development is. And I'll say, if you look, on the easel here, the shaded portions in yellow, and I'll go back for the commissioners. The shaded portions in yellow on the right-hand side of that map are R20, and while it doesn't impact the county, the portions of Peachland that are right there are also R20. You can barely just see it on the map indicated in purple. So there is R20 in that area.
Anyone else?
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion, we come out of closed session.
One more thing.
Sorry. I'm
Mis-
sorry.
It's all right. Mr. Addison, in your professional opinion, do you propose the rezoning reasonable?
Yes, I think to rezone it would be, even though it's inconsistent with the land use plan, I think such an action is warranted, provided that this rezoning doesn't have substantial impacts on the neighbors, the character of the community. It's small acreage in size, so in my opinion, it would be reasonable, and even though it's inconsistent with the land use plan.
Okay, Mr. Addison, in the statement, if you read the statement.
Yeah, oh, you may read it in full?
Yes, sir.
Okay. In finding that although this rezoning is inconsistent with the land use plan, the commissioners can provide a vote of recommendation, finding that it is reasonable considering the location of the tract, acreage affected, the benefits to the community, and the relationship of the proposed zoning designation to the surrounding community and existing uses.
Thank you, Mr. Addison. At this time, can I offer a motion to come out of public?
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Got a motion by Mr. Commissioner Gatewood, got a second by Commissioner Little Reed. All in favor?
Aye.
Pass. Is there a motion to approve the zoning map amendment? Again,
Make that motion, Mr. Vice Chairman.
Second.
got a motion made by Commissioner Woodburn, second by Commissioner Gatewood. All in favor?
Aye.
It passes. At this time, I'm gonna turn the meeting back over to Chairman Calder.
All right, thank you for that. All right, at this time, we're going to, we'll enter into our second public hearing, so I'll entertain a motion to enter into public hearing number 2. Motion by Commissioner Mims, second by Commissioner Little Reed. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. All right, we're now in public hearing, and as soon as Mr. Addison is ready, he can begin.
We're good?
Yes,
Okay.
we're ready for you.
So as he said, this is another straight rezoning request identified as ZMA 25-0003. Again, the legislative hearing, unsworn facts and opinions, and we also, again, have to provide a statement of consistency and reasonableness. So this particular request is to rezone approximately 154 acres from heavy industrial to rural agricultural 5, also known as RA5. Again, as similar to the last one, this is a straight rezoning request, so there's no conditions or restrictions placed on the rezoning, and the applicant is able to pursue any permitted use within the RA5 district. Okay, this is the map of the property as indicated in yellow on the board and on the easel. And as you can see, the area is predominantly rural in nature, very few residential structures in that region. And there is some industrial sites nearby related to the gravel and sand mining operations. These are conditions as they exist today, again alluding to the rural nature of the area. An additional aerial photography. So one thing we do when we look at a rezoning is we try and look at all aspects, you know, whether it be utilities or environmental features or just really all aspects. One thing that did pop out on this particular tract is it does have wetlands that are designated with a National Wetlands Inventory, so there are wetlands on the site. Again, we have to consider how it aligns with the land use plan. Excuse me. The land use plan identified this area as a heavy industrial center land use area, which is predominantly for large scale manufacturing and production uses, akin to what a gravel and sand mine would be. That designation, I assume, comes from the proximity to 74, the potential speculation building on 74, and the neighboring sand and gravel mine operations that are still in existence. So looking at how this would fit into existing surrounding land uses, again, this area is pretty rural and rural in nature. There's a few residential developments in that area, but there are industrial uses in the area as well, related to those mining operations, but the area otherwise does not have industrial development. I will say one thing that this rezoning could do is provide a smoother transition between those heavy industrial zoning designations and some of the RA3s, as well as provide additional protections to the wetlands. So the planning board's public hearing on this was also on January 9th, and they voted a recommendation of approval. It was a unanimous vote, 6-0. And then in regards to planning staff, it was also recommended for approval, giving the rural, agricultural, and silvicultural nature of the region, the lack of residential developments, and the unknown potential for future industrial growth that would normally be akin to heavy industry. At this time, if the commissioners would like, we can turn this over to public comment.
Yes, at this time, are there any public comments regarding the rezoning case? Mr. Johnson?
Could you tell me how far this tract of land is from the old Anderson County landfill that was on Boston's property?
Go ahead.
It actually is, it sits right adjacent to where it used to be. So what it is reclaimed land from the mining that was took place right adjacent on, right beside it.
Beside the old
Yes, sir.
landfill?
Yes, sir. It's actually where they done their digging at. So
Okay.
it's actually reclaimed. It's been replanted and reclaimed.
The reason that landfill was shut down is because the leachate and the gases from that landfill had moved beyond the boundaries on Monsoon's property. Has there been any?
Yeah, there's been wells put in, Ronnie can tell you, there's been wells put in, those have been monitored. They were monitored by the state for so long, so to the key.
So there's no residue from that
No,
landfill
sir.
on this
No,
property?
sir, not on this property.
Good. Appreciate it.
Are there any other comments from the public? All right, hearing none, are there any comments from the commissioners? Hearing none. Mr. Addison, is it correct that the planning board approves of this recommendation, gives it a vote of recommendation from the planning board, and is reasonable considering the location of the tract, the acreage affected, and the benefits to the community, and the relationship of the proposed zoning designation to the surrounding community and existing uses?
Yes,
that
I would
correct?
say it is reasonable given those factors.
Okay. So, all right. At this time, I'll entertain a motion to exit the public hearing.
Move.
Motion by Commissioner Mims, second by Commissioner Little Reed. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. All right, this time, is there a motion we'd like to present for this rezoning case?
Make a motion to go ahead and approve it.
Second it.
We have a motion by Commissioner Mims, second by Commissioner Little Reed to approve the rezoning ZMA 25-0003. Is there any discussion on that? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. The motion passes. So that will conclude all of our public hearings for tonight. So we'll continue on with our agenda now. Moving on to our consent agenda. You have it in your packets or your computer now. So do we have a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion by Commissioner Mims, second by Commissioner Gatewood. Any discussion on the consent agenda? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Motion passes. All right. Moving along, let's see, we gotta get public addresses. You gotta forgive me, this is a new way to do the meeting with this computer now, so it's not as quick as the book. There's only 89 pages to scroll through here. All right, so we're at our public address time, so I'm going to read the public address statement. There shall be a time set aside at each regular meeting for the board of the board for public comment. Each citizen who wishes to speak during this time must sign up on a sign-up sheet prior to the start of the meeting. Each citizen shall be allowed 3 minutes for their presentation. All citizens are expected to follow proper decorum and shall not use profanity nor defamatory speech. The public is expected to remain seated except when leaving the room. Only presenters listed on the agenda or recognized by the chairman will be called to the podium to address the board. Commissioners are expected not to comment on matters brought to the board during this time, but to delay action or comment until staff has had an opportunity to research the subject matter and to report necessary and relevant information to all members of the board. So as you come to the podium, you're going to hear a clock, or you'll see a clock. At 3 minutes, you will hear a buzzer go off. We ask you that you please kindly abide by the 3 minutes, and that way everyone has their turn to speak. So first, we're going to call Mr. Bob Johnson.
Good evening.
Good evening.
It's really good to see you again. It's been a long time since I've been here. I'd like to talk with you just 3 minutes about a document that I found on the North Carolina DEQ website and their EDOC files concerning a report from Franklin Engineers and their associate called Sniffer that operates a drone system that scans landfills and such for odors and gases. This was received by the DEQ on December 30th of 2024. The test was run in October of 2023, but it took from October the 15th to December the 30th for this company, this engineering company, to get the details to state. One good reason for that, I hope you have a pamphlet that I passed out. If you go to the third page, it should look like this, has sniffer at the top, and it's the exceedances that the drone picked up and was verified by boots on the ground with hand sensors, and each time the hand sensors read a much higher value than the drones did. But the drones were used to pinpoint the leaks in the landfill. The first is coming from the surface. This is gas coming through the dirt. It's coming straight out of the landfill through the cow. If you look at some pictures I have, and I'll be glad to show them to you, some close-up pictures of why this is happening. This landfill is in a total mess as far as surface compounds. They're supposed to use clay, they're using sand, and automobile fluff. Automobile fluff is the stuff left over when automobiles are crushed and ground into small pieces, and all the insulation, the fabric, seats, top, all of this comes out as dust and fluff. It's called automobile fluff. The landfill can legally use this stuff to count the landfill, and they are using it, have been for 3 years. They mix the fluff with sand, which is supposed to be clay, but they don't use it. If you look 2 pages further, you'll see
Mr. Johnson, that's 3 minutes,
you'll
so.
see that instead of 200 parts per million, there's house of places that's 110,000 parts per million. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you for that information, Mr. Johnson. Next, we'll call Mr. Charles McGinnis.
Just to add on to what Bob has been saying, is the landfill's been for at least 5 years that I know of, have been one violation after another out there. And this latest violation is 76 violations. I think almost all of you guys have seen the documentation. I know you have, Jamie. This documentation's been going around. And the big issue for me is they're wanting to extend the time frame that they were previously required to fix it. That's basically saying, hey, I want to fix it in my own good time, and we're going to continue poisoning your citizens. No big deal. So, also want to make you aware of the asbestos going in out there. That should never have been allowed to start with. And I found a document that it kind of proves it, but it mostly just suggests that there's asbestos going in out there. And the EPA is clear about putting asbestos in landfills. There's not supposed to be any visible emissions. I'm assuming that's dust, is what they're saying. Back in October, I was up with somebody flying around, and the dust cloud coming off that landfill was 1,700 feet and went past Houlton almost to Peachman, right? Not only a violation of the franchise agreement, but I should have called the FAA on them too, but I didn't. So I want to make you aware of the asbestos and their incompetence in handling the asbestos, and they are required to keep records 2 years after the landfill closes, they're supposed to know where it's at, how deep it is, how much it is. And I think it would be very helpful if you guys, or somebody in the county, I wanna say, would get a copy of that information. Cause once they're gone, I don't know, you know, the rules on asbestos continues to get worse and worse and worse, because they're finding out it's more and more dangerous. So I think you should find out where that stuff is at now and continue to monitor it. And if possible, stop them from bringing that stuff in there, asbestos. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. McGinnis, for that. All right, next up we have Mr. Terry Hayams.
I know I used my 3 minutes real quickly. First thing I wanted to address y'all is the fact of pollution here in Waitsboro. My wife has lung disease, and we sit at our home and we breathe smoke that's coming out of Sherrill, South Carolina, and all through these fields where all these land being cleared. The smoke is so strong, it's just like fog when you walk outside on a foggy night. You can't even breathe because the fumes are so strong. I'm addressing y'all today to do something about this fog because it settles right here in downtown on Morton Road, and it's terrible. And I would like to get something done, as it destroys people's health by breathing all this congestive smoke, wood smoke I call it. So I'd like for the county to do some type of moratorium on that, to a rule to not let these people set these brush fires and cause all this smoke to come into the city. On my second note, I would like to say that I would love to see our sheriff's department as Union County, and I've called down there several times to animal control. They keep passing the buck back to the city police. The county needs to do something about this. They need to either take the ball and go with it. And we need an officer in animal control, just like Union County has an officer to look over animal control with the sheriff's department under Eddie Cathy. So I need this county to take action about putting an officer in place. You can't get nobody to put me down there. I'll do it. But we need to get something that you can call animal control and get something done about these animals. As I was speaking last month with Commissioner Jarvis had mentioned about the dog control in this county. And it needs to be controlled. And we need to change up and get the officer and make the sheriff's department over this department. That's my recommendation. Just think it's a wonderful thing, and I think we need to do something about that to control those two items. And my last thing is talking about floodplain. When I lived in Union County, most all my life, my farm where my mother and father was in 100, 200 year floodplain.
Yes, Mr. Hayams.
The county needs to control floodplain areas quite a bit.
Okay.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Commissioner Jamie.
Thank you.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you for those comments, Mr. Hayams. All right, that concludes our public hearing our public addresses to the board tonight. So we will move on to our appointments, and we have one appointment for the Board of Health. So you see the candidate in here, Miss Dr. Sarah Elliott. So I'll entertain a motion to approve Dr. Sarah Elliott as a member of the Board of Health as the MD position.
So move, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
I have a motion by Commissioner Mims, second by Commissioner Woodburn. Is there any discussion over that appointment? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. All right, so we are moving on down to our manager's report.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The first item tonight in your agenda package is a memorandum of agreement, MOA, if you will, between Anson County and the Anson County Schools. This would be for, I guess we'd say, land use authorization that we don't really have in place now, but we've been using it during storms, as you know, particularly like hurricanes, if we have some coming up, and also a snowstorm that we had, ice storm recently. This is for the primary school on 52 South, and this would allow the county to use those facilities. We would also provide generation for electricity in the case the power goes out, and it's just basically a continuation of the practice that we've had in place for several years. Nothing's really changed except I think we'll now be able to use the cafeteria facilities as we couldn't in the past because they have to agree to it.
Yes, if
When I say cafeteria, I should define that as the kitchen there.
Yes, that is the biggest clarification in this MOU is the use of the kitchen facility to prepare foods for the shelter staff that's working there. In the past, we've never had a facility that can prepare food for our staff that's working. Not the citizens that come to the shelter. They've always had the food. We've never had a facility to prepare food for our workers. And so that was this MOU updates that.
Right.
So, all right, is there any other discussion on that? Or do you have?
We would need a motion and to get approval.
Okay. So we have a motion by Commissioner Ellerby to approve the MOU or MOA of Anson County and the Anson County Schools. We have a second by Commissioner Little Reed. Any discussion? All right, hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you, motion passes. All right, next.
Second item is a contract which would be between the county. It's one page, between Allman Minor government relations firm. They're located in Raleigh, and they would work on different types of economic development issues, probably the ones that relate via the General Assembly. And the price tag is $5,000 a month for 1 year. It would, if you're approved, it could commence as early as March 1st.
Okay. And this contract is just being presented to the commissioners for discussion. Obviously, this is something that myself and the manager have worked on to present to you. The efforts that this contract is going to provide for us in Raleigh are both legislative goals and economic development. We all know that the commissioners can't be in Raleigh petitioning our legislators for needs that the citizens in this county need all the time. What this contract does is put somebody in that position all the time for us. So I highly encourage us to look at doing this option. I know this is a new concept to this county. It has been researched. The surrounding counties of us, Richmond, Stanley, Union, Montgomery, those counties, some of those utilize lobbying. And so I feel like this is going to help us provide the essential needs for the citizens of this county in a way that the commissioners can't do every day, day in and day out. So what's the board's pleasure on moving forward with the Allman Minor contract?
Mr. Chairman, I'm sorry, please.
What are the steps to put it in place?
To make a motion tonight to approve it, and
No, I'm talking about, Will, you said that you wanted a lobbyist and then somebody for the economic development department, right?
yes.
So does that mean we would hire somebody up under the county to be the economic development person?
No, this is hiring that person. This firm, this contract will handle some economic development and our legislative priorities.
So what about the chamber? Are you going to continue with them?
You say the chamber.
The Chamber of Commerce, where the ED person?
The AEDC, they will continue as of now. Our discussion, they're coming back to our meeting, I think the 18th of February.
The 18th,
Yeah.
2 weeks from like.
So they'll be back in front of us then, and we can continue that discussion with them. But currently, as it stands, there's no funding change to that corporation at this time.
So we're gonna pay $5,000 for the legislative and then continue to pay them?
if that's what the board chooses to.
Mr. Chairman, I'd just like to add, I mean, the things you mentioned are correct, but, you know, lobbyists and, you know, this organization, they have an individual or individuals that would represent Anson County in Raleigh, or anybody as far as who they, you know, like we're doing, not hiring. But any issue that we have that we need support from the legislature, they will be there to go to bat for us. And, like he said, you know, economic development could be one of those. It could be infrastructure that we need, anything that the county needs that we need to get approval or we need to get support from the legislature, this organization would do. And one other thing that I would just mention as a side note is that we can also have Centralina, because we have a federal lobbyist that goes to DC, and there's a lobbyist, a representative of Centralina that goes to Raleigh. And we can also go through Centralina as well, in addition to this.
Yes, sir.
Because Centralina is not specifically for Anson County, but, you know, what we're saying here is we're gonna contract with an organization that will have somebody on the ground daily at the legislature to work for Anson County.
That's right. Yeah, we've got numerous capital needs, obviously, that we need some help funding with. We know our school, we're trying to build a new middle school just underway now. We got a $100 million project going on that we need to go at the water filtration plant that we've started on. Jail, sheriff's office, social services office, health department, all of those capital needs come with a price tag. And that's what this firm can help us with, is getting those citizens, the services provided to the citizens.
I don't have a problem with the lobbyists. I understand that, because when we was on the Sand Hill board, they had a lobbyist down there that was looking out for them. I was just asking, are we gonna pay $5,000 to them and then continue with the chamber, paying them for over $400,000?
You keep saying the chamber, but you're meaning AEDC. I don't want to get that construed to the public, but yes, it is the AEDC. That is up to this board as far as the direction on if we continue funding AEDC, what that looks like. I can tell you we've had conversations with our AEDC, and they support the county in these efforts of lobbying. We've had those discussions, and they are in support of that.
Okay, but are they still gonna continue to get paid?
As of tonight, yes, unless this board votes to do different.
If we go ahead, if we decide to go ahead, will they still continue to get paid?
That's up for this board to decide. That's another discussion. But yes, that is up to the board. So, Mr. Leary, yes.
The money that is paid to any firm that we go with, if it is partly for economic development growth, can that money be used from the sales tax revenue as part of the funding from as a economic development to pay for this contract?
I'm going to refer to our attorney, Mr. Forbes. Can you clarify that can the funds used from Article 44 sales tax that funds our AEDC, can they be used in this contract with Almond and Minor?
I've not seen anything that would restrict those from economic development, as long as they are doing that for economic development. I've not seen a restriction on that.
Has there been any other firms in the state, as far as competition or even any other firms looked at?
For this contract?
Yes, for this contract.
No, I have not researched any other firms.
Mr. Chairman, I think that's an excellent point. If we're gonna do this, I think we need to do it right. And I'm familiar with Almond and Minor, but there are many of these firms in the state of North Carolina. I would like to suggest that we slow down, send out a request for proposals, and then select the very best firm in the state that we can afford.
That is one option. My only concern with slowing down are the capital needs don't slow down. They're coming every day. And as we all know, legislative session has already started in Raleigh. The further we delay this, the further we get behind the 8 ball, and every other county in the state gets in front of us in their request. I just think there's an immediate need for us to be in front of some legislators currently, as of tonight. Because the further we get down the list, the harder it is to get anything done. Mr. Whitmer?
I can offer a suggestion along that line based on what I'm hearing, if I'm understanding correctly, is that now this memorandum of agreement, and that's on me. I'm not sure, how long it's supposed to last, but my thinking is if you need, I agree with your sense of urgency, is that, you know, we can start with this and say, work with these people for a year and do what's being suggested by the board, is look at others, and if we find somebody that we feel like may be better, then we can change at the end of that year. If not, then we can continue.
I agree with that. This is a very low risk, no risk whatsoever. If we fund it, we're not happy with this firm, we walk away at the end of the contract. We can cancel the contract. It states clearly within 10 days? Or
30 days. Within
30 days, yes, payment's 10 days. So we can cancel within 30 days. If we're not happy, if we're not seeing any results, we can walk away, no strings attached. And then we can, you know, search other firms. I just think there's an immediate need for this as quickly as possible. And my concern is if we search other firms, we're going to delay that process and we're going to miss the mark.
And it is for 1 year, I see.
The contract is 1 year, but there are an exception to get out of it within 30 days.
Right.
Couple other considerations. Right now, we're in a hiring freeze, and this is going to cost the county $5,000 a month. And we've told many of our departments they can't fill needed positions because of budgetary considerations. The Local Government Commission has encouraged us to manage our budget very carefully the remainder of this fiscal year, and I just think we need to slow down, put out a request for proposals, and select the very best firm that we can afford. There are a lot of them out there, and some excellent ones.
Yes, sir. I can agree. There are numerous. I think somebody told me there's over 800 registered lobbyists in the state, so there are a lot.
I think it would be unfair to the other 799 lobbyists out there for us to pinpoint one firm and say we're going to do business with them. That's not openness, in my opinion.
What I would say is, considering the purpose of a lobbyist firm and all of that, and considering conditions of Anson County, this can't wait. And if we have somebody that you all have identified as a potential firm to provide us the representation we need on the state level, we need to get some things going around here. So I'm willing to go ahead and make the motion that we accept this contract for a year, and in the process of this year, if we don't like what we get, we make the changes.
All right, so we have a motion by Commissioner Ellaby to move forward with the Almond Minor contract as presented here for 1 year. Is there a second?
I'll second that, Mr. Chairman. I think just if he would amend his motion to say that we do the RFQ and look for other firms anyway. Then we, I guess, do a comparison during this year's time. And if we decide, if we feel like we can do better by making a change, we'll make that change.
Okay.
To make a long story short.
Okay.
Well,
If this motion passes, can we still put out a request for proposal nonetheless and look at it?
Yeah.
And if we find another firm in 1 month's time, can this contract be canceled after 30 days, get out of this contract and go with another firm? Attorney Forbes?
I apologize, I did not know you were talking to me.
I'm sorry, I wasn't direct.
Because you gave me this, I apologize.
If this,
According to item 7, terms of this contract are March through February, 30-day cancellation notice by either party. No fee, no strings attached, you walk away.
my concern with that, and that's why I didn't make the motion that way, is you hire a firm to start lobbying. I mean, if they're working on something 2-3 months in, and just because you find another firm that's cheaper, you know, what happens with all of that ground you've gained, possibly with your state legislators. So now my motion stands as what I made, that if we're going to do this, I would like to give Almond Minor a year. This is something the chairman and our manager has worked on. If they feel that these individuals can give us proper representation for a year, then, you know, my motion is that we go ahead, do the contract for a year, and kind of just go with it with a year.
I withdraw my comments.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. So I have a motion by Commissioner Ellaby to enter into the contract with Almond Minor.
Is this just for lobbying? I thought it was for economic development and things of that nature?
It is. It is for economic development and legislative goals,
Legislative goals.
or legislative priorities in Raleigh.
So taxpayer funding would not be used to give campaign donations and things
No.
of that nature?
No.
I'm just
No.
clarifying, because
As-
that's,
Well, I'm sure that's illegal. I think.
Yeah, it has nothing to do with
I think lobbying. We're just trying to make sure that we can get the state of North Carolina's attention.
That's right.
Towards Anson County, which we can all in this room, including citizens that are here and those watching, we need the attention of state legislation concerning Anson County and productivity of Anson County. The only way you can do that is either if we're going to make some trips up there or get somebody to do it.
their job would be primarily for recruiting businesses and economic development, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, let's roll.
So,
Yeah, it was stated in here. I think that's what it said.
I just had one question. Correct you, Commissioner Elby, I wasn't trying to
Right,
correct you or talk over you.
yes, Mr.
But after July, we can take the remainder of the balance and take it out of the AEDC.
Yes, according to Attorney Forbes' research, as of July 1, technically you could do it before then if the board voted, but yes, you can use the Article 44 sales tax that states it has to be used for economic development. We could use that to fund this contract.
That is how I understand
Understood.
taxpayer funding, and it's
Right.
for economic development.
Yes.
Well, that's what I would like to do, instead of trying to get it, out of our budget. Cause our money's already kinda, low, and we don't wanna
Mhm.
continue to lower it. So therefore, I would like to get the money out of the economic development.
Okay.
This
that-
will be the process going
but
towards.
that's, yes, this is the first step of that, and then we can make that decision.
Okay, I was just giving you my opinion.
Okay, so, yep. That is a very valid point, so.
Does it need to be part of Commissioner Elby's motion?
No, I think this is just concerning the contract.
This is just concerning the
Yeah,
contract.
so anything pertaining to ADC, that's another matter, cause we have them coming to give us a presentation, I think on the 18th, I believe.
Yeah, I think, that's my opinion, is they're coming back the 18th, we'll hear more facts from them, then we can make a decision moving forward there.
I guess, from my understanding, this is going to be some, representation on behalf of Anson County to the state legislation in North Carolina, so that, we'll be making some progress to get some attention this way and see if we can get some growth here. So, my motion again is that we accept this contract with Almond and Minor, for a year, or, and, that's my motion.
Okay, so I'll restate, Commissioner Elby's motion is to move forward with the Almond Minor contract for 1 year, as presented here in your packet. Mr. Woodburn, does your second still stand?
Yeah, my second still stands, yes, sir.
Okay, all right, so we have a motion by Commissioner Elby, second by Commissioner Woodburn. Any other discussion on this?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Tell us a little bit about this company. How long have they been in business? What other counties do they represent?
I do not know how long they have been in business, and I don't know if they represent any counties. I know they represent numerous industries within the state of North Carolina, and this will be a bipartisan approach from a Republican and a Democratic side to our legislators in Raleigh. So they don't focus on one side of the aisle or the other. Like I said, they're well respected within the community. They're well respected within Raleigh. I have met with this company personally, as the manager has, and I would not present this contract to this board if I did not feel confident in getting a return on an investment of $60,000. I don't think we're going to have a problem getting a return on that.
Well, I'm opposed to it, and I will vote against it, primarily because of our process. We identify one firm, and we're going to do business with this one firm, and we're going to entrust them with $5,000 a year of our money. That's what we're going to be paying them, okay? We haven't solicited any other inputs, any other proposals, and I think that's unfair.
Okay, and like I said, item 7.
And how did we come up with $5,000 a month?
That was proposed and discussed with the manager when we met.
Well, I'd like the representatives of this firm to present to the Board of Commissioners and be in a position to answer our questions.
And they can. They more than willingly said they could be here tonight. Me and the manager discussed it and said that we didn't think they needed to be here. They had presented what they can do, what they will do for our county. So But if that's the board's pleasure, that's the way we can have them come in front of us and present it. They're totally fine with it.
I would
I just
recommend that we hold off and allow them to introduce themselves and respond to our questions.
There's a motion on the floor. We got to address.
Yes, sir. I appreciate your comments, Mr. Commissioner Gatewood, and I go back to the urgency that the financial needs for this county are not going away, and they're not going to pause. And you spoke about the employees not being able to be hired. Well, we've hired any employee that's come before the board, even with a hiring freeze. So I don't know that we still have a hiring freeze on. I'm a little unsure on that. But I just think that the more we move on this, the sooner the better, because we're missing the mark if we delay it. We all know there's 100 counties, and we all know they're going after all the money that we're going after too.
Mr. Chairman, what are the specific outcomes that we expect from this investment of $5,000 a month?
Economic development in this county that'll produce and build a tax base that provides for the citizens of this community. If we can get some economic development here, if we get one industry here, we've more than brought back a return on our investment of $60,000. It don't take a very large business to provide $60,000 worth of benefits to Anson County. We've not seen that in a long time, so I don't think it'll take much. Matter of fact, we have a meeting with the manager a couple weeks, I believe, with a firm that is looking to expand at our airport potentially. That was brought about from this contract. We're already seeing the impact from that. So I don't think it's going to take a whole lot to get our return.
And what are the experiences of the principals of this firm?
What are the experiences?
What are their experiences? What is their education? What are their experiences?
One of the partners in Almond and Minor served in the state house alongside our manager. That I don't want to state your age, but that dates back a few years, correct?
He served a lot longer than I did, but I was there during the 2000 session. So, and he does represent the Democrat side.
That is correct. He served on Governor Josh Stein's committees. He meets with Governor Stein quite frequently. The other partner in the Almond Minor contract is very well versed in lobbying efforts in Raleigh. As I said, represents multiple industries. I don't know if they represent another county. I did not ask that. They're geared more towards the private sector, which is what we're after, is private sector money coming to Anson County.
And how will we know if they've been successful?
That is up to this board's interpretation on how well we think they've done. If we, like I said, 3 months in, if we see that they're not making progress or we've not seen any action, item 7 says we can cancel the contract. That's up for this board's interpretation on what success looks like. I can ask 7 commissioners and we'll get 7 different opinions on what success looks like.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. So we have a motion on the floor by Commissioner Ellaby, second by Mr. Woodburn. Is there any other discussion on the Almond Minor contract? And the motion stated was to move forward with the Almond Minor contract as presented for the 12-month period. Any other discussion? All right, hearing none, Mr. Leary.
I do second Commissioner Gatewood as far as having just a RFP act.
Okay, so, all right, by this time, all in favor say aye. So,
Aye.
Any opposed?
Opposed?
So we have 3 opposed, so 4 again, 4 yeses, 3 noes. Is that correct? So motion passes. So, all right.
And the reason for my no is because we're dealing with a money issue right now. That's my thing. I know you said this is a good opportunity, and I understand that, but we still have, the freezes are still going on. We're only doing lateral moves now. We're not really doing no hiring outside. And as a matter of fact, we got an email the other day for some help at the extension office, and then you released that.
That was okayed by the Board of Commissioners, and they're going to be hired.
But no, that was on the email. I didn't give an okay.
You didn't respond to the manager?
I didn't. Well, I'm telling you.
Did you receive any responses?
I did receive.
Okay.
Well, I'm not saying that he didn't receive it. I was just telling you my opinion.
Yeah.
When you said you didn't know whether or not it was still a free zone. There's still a free zone.
So anyone who's requested a position has been approved.
Actually, we have very few positions that are in the freeze category to yet be free. Most of them, as you indicated, are Miss Little Reed. Commissioner said it's correct that there are very few positions that because we're having people coming and going, and there's a lot of turnover for some reason. I don't know why. They have different ones have different reasons, but there is a lot.
Okay. All right. So that motion passes. So we'll move on to item C in manager's report.
A report that I have is that I've had several requests by this board to look at different properties to sell, and I have enlisted our planning director, Mr. Addison, and also our facilities and parks and rec director, Mr. Small, to work with me on it, and we intend to put together a presentation for an upcoming meeting for all those properties. Matter of fact, I discussed something with our propane provider today that I know Commissioner Gate was familiar with. They have a facility actually on the Washington Street property that used to be where the utilities operation. They have a propane tank there that they use and another customer or two. So the power's still on. I've worked with Mr. Small and our finance director that we're going to get all the fuel out of those tanks that we can, and then whatever residual amounts at the bottom, we will then have to have a firm come in and remove it. It's my understanding right now that to remove the tanks there will cost probably between $20,000 and $30,000, so I'm getting a better quote on that to bring back to you. And I've talked to our tax administrator about the possibility of coming up with what the valuations on the property are, so that we can give you an idea before we jump in to start removing stuff, what we could expect in terms of a sale. And so we've talked about the old hospital site, we've talked about the old building inspections, parks and rec, utilities, and as you indicated, next Thursday is when we're meeting at the airport with Rex Edwards, our airport director, and also the folks that we've been introduced to about doing some economic development there. What I want to do is also make sure from Rex is that we can actually take down some of that timber that's out there. Usually you've got like a clear zone, if you will, when you approach pattern. So if we've got anything there that's intruding into that glide slope, then that can definitely be taken out. I don't know that they would have any restrictions for us taking the balance of it out. The problem we have with Little Park is that's in a trust account that was given to us, so we can't timber it like we would a piece of land that's open. So we're identifying every piece. I did send an email that Mr. Addison put together, had a map on it, and if you click on it, it's the whole county, and it shows. And if you hover over that particular shade of or yellow that identifies the site, it will tell you what it is and what it was.
Yes.
And so we need to bring that back. And then our gov.deal sale is has been, I think we got 4 vehicles that we can sell. That's it there. Yeah. So that's the part that you can't approve tonight. All that land and the other stuff, I'll be bringing back to you at the next meeting.
Okay, so yes, the surplus items were in the consent agenda, right. The vehicles and some other items. But
so if it's up to you, you just need to declare surplus, and then we can continue on with our sale.
Okay, so yeah, that was already handled in the consent. So we'll wait for you to give us a report on the land surplus that right. We'll deem what surplus.
Okay.
All right. Any other discussion on the surplus? So. Yes, sir. Has the county ever, looked into or entertained the idea of contracting with a private firm to manage our timber?
Not to my knowledge, unless some of the folks that have been here longer.
Mr. Ford, got a question?
At one time, we had some sales of timber. It was not a long term for that, but I believe they had put out some bids for it, and they came up, Mr. Eddie Johnson, who's a forester here in town, at that time was chosen to proceed with that. And I I think he did execute some things.
He did, and he did an excellent job. In fact, we sent out requests for proposals, and his was the very best, and he did a super job for the county.
Okay, so if we have land that's got timber, standing timber on it, I just wonder if that's
At this point, I don't believe we have any mature timber because we just sold it 10 years ago.
okay. So,
And we sold everything we had.
okay. So,
Couldn't have a toothpick left. I'll bet you got rid of it.
okay. There's no action needed on the surplus items. We're waiting on the report to get.
That's right.
So, okay.
The next item, let's see. Oh, I skipped one. I'm sorry. The DMV. That was the item that I skipped over to go to the property sale. But that was a request. The board wanted to know what our situation was in terms of revenues and expenditures for our Department of Motor Vehicles operation that's downstairs, operated by county employees. That's in your report. And you can see it gives you the current year and then the fiscal years 23, 24, 22, 23, back all the way to 2021, and then also gives you a summary, if you will, to show you what the actual revenues that were collected as well as the expenses. And for that, I guess 4.5 year time frame, it shows that we actually went in the hole about $153,000 and change. So it's averaging somewhere in the $35,000 to $40,000 a year range.
Okay. Yes, sir, Mr. Larry.
Is that from fiscal year to January 28th of this current year? The email's dated January 28th. Is that running to January 28th?
I think so, yes.
Okay. Y'all forgive me of my math if it might be wrong, but is this the salaries for the expenses? Is that just the salaries?
Essentially, the expense would be some office supplies, but primarily salaries and benefits.
So that would have accompanied the most recent COLA that was approved at 11% last COLA, which increased our expense 11%.
Yeah.
If my math is right, I just scratched it on a scrap piece of paper, and I could be wrong, but it looks like we're looking at a loss for this year up to $60,000.
And primarily based on what, on your math, I don't think it's wrong, is because we had the COLA increase. We've also had increases in insurance for the employees, and so all of that would be factored into the expense side that you're looking at.
And nor do we have the revenue for this year accompanied for 7 months. If this is up to a 7-month report, we have 42,000. 23, 24, we were sitting at 83,000 for a year, so the revenue's not there.
Yeah, so the revenue it should come in probably about the same, which means, as you indicated, about a $60,000 loss as opposed to that 35 to 40. So it's increasing because the state's constant in terms of what we can charge, obviously, and so there's not much we can do about that.
Right.
And I think, as we indicated at a previous meeting, is that the operation prior to the county taking it over was essentially a 1-person office versus a 2-person office.
That is correct. And as we can see, here's a accumulated total of a $153,000 deficit that the county is incurring to provide this service to the citizens. Now, I will argue that this is a service that needs to be provided to the citizens of this community. Right. We cannot do away with this service. I just think we need to look at more efficient methods to provide this service. That doesn't state that we have to do the service, but we have to have it provided somehow. So I don't know what the process looks like if determining if there's a private entity that is capable and can be, I guess, approved or licensed by the state to do it. I don't know what that process looks like, but I don't know if we don't need to entertain what that looks like to see if there is any interest in it.
If the board would like, we could, Mr. Newton and I could take a look at the state, see what the process would be. I do know that in a communication, an email that we have received previously, that there's no guarantee that if the county decided it's not going to do it, that there would be a DMV office anywhere in Anson County.
Yes, sir. And that's why I'm obviously not in favor of taking that service out of this county.
Right, yeah, it's a heck of a service because people, I mean, I know from my in and out that people do come in and pay their taxes as well as get their tags.
Yep. So, but yes, if you can have the conversation with Mr. Newton and figure out what our options are, if there's a way that we can, gauge the interest in a private sector running this, I don't know. I don't know what that looks like, but I just know that we need to make sure we're being the most efficient. And if that is losing $153,000 over these years, I can live with that, but I don't really want to live with that. So,
I understand. I'll get Miss Canton, if you will, to get up with Mr. Newton in the morning, and we'll set a meeting up, discuss it, and he can start researching it with the state, and then he and I'll discuss it and bring it back to the commissioners.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, just one thing I'll add as a point of information. When the county decided to get into this, it was more for convenience of the citizens, because before, if they got out there to get a tag and there was some kind of a problem, they had to come downtown Waysboro, get it straightened out, then go back. They had to do a lot of back and forth. But with everything here in this building now, if there's a problem, you just walk over to the next window and they can get to the bottom of it.
Yes, sir. And I agree with the convenience factor of that. That's why I say I don't want to live with losing $153,000 if we can help it, but if
breaks my heart.
Yeah, let's just look at other options. And,
I'm not crazy about it, but I think it's a good thing for citizens.
Yeah.
I think that loss includes like mail-ins and all of that, doesn't it? Like people that are not actually coming into the office.
And people have an option that depending on which side of the county they live on, they can either go over to Rockingham or they can go over to Union County. So that's the competition.
All right. Any other discussion on the DMV report?
Is there any way to figure out how much we lose in the other counties?
I don't know if Mr. Newton could get that information as far as how other counties operate and what their revenue totals would be. I don't.
No. How much are we losing to other counties?
Oh, how much business we're
how much we're losing?
How many of our citizens are going out of county to get these services provided?
Yeah, that's a tough nut, but I can check and see if there's some way to figure that out.
I think the state would probably have to give you the information on Anson County residents. And I don't know if they can detail where they maybe made that payment. They may can.
Yeah, I don't know.
I think it might be possible.
Mr. Newton may be eligible to or allowed to get that information. I don't know. So.
When I talk with him, we'll look into it.
Okay.
See if there's any way to bring something along on that back.
Okay. Moving on down.
The next item, and then I have one that I'd like to get the board to allow me to add. But the next item there is our first quarter employees of the quarter, and of course the employees of the quarter are always nominated by their peers. And we have several of them. Tracy Harrington from 4-H Youth Promise, Rosalind, you know her by Katie Ingram from HR, Dwayne McCoy, our data processing IT guru, Wendell Small, Parks and Rec, as well as facilities, Sandy Smith down at the Register of Deeds office, and then last but not least, Hillary Wall from the Health Department. These were all nominated by their peers, and as being employees of the quarter, those that they feel go over and beyond the call of duty just to do a good job for the citizens. And no action required, just presenting that to you, and they will get a certificate that's already been prepared and signed.
Okay. I would just like to publicly congratulate each one of these employees for the hard work and dedication they provide to the citizens of Anson County. So thank you.
Good. And I have been asked several times, it was discussed at the last meeting, cell phone policies. Either we have one, don't have one. There is one, but and it's and I've got a copy of it, and the one that we have in place now is part of your personnel ordinance. And the part that's pertinent, I guess, is that all employees in the county service shall be subject to this ordinance except as provided by this section. That section says elected officials, which would be, in this case, county commissioners, and I guess any other elected official, county manager, and a county attorney. And so what I did, and I'll see if Commissioner Gatewood would be kind enough to pass this to his immediate right.
Thank you.
And I'll see if I can hold on to one here and try to answer any questions, because I've been asked to look at a stipend type situation, and I'm not saying this is by any means the end all, but it is something for your consideration. And if the board wants it, fine. If you don't want it, that's fine. You can always do something different.
Okay, so I'll let everybody finish reading it.
Along the lines of some suggestions that I've received from county commissioners, and I'm sure there are varying degrees of opinions on it, and I'm not married to it. It's up to what the 7 commissioners want. But I know we've kind of beat the horse up a number of times, and it's probably getting tired.
I don't have a problem with it. I don't think I see the change out of it. It says on paragraph 2, subject receiving the $40 telephone stipend should be cell phone stipend.
Should be a $40 cell phone stipend.
Yes.
Okay.
And that's my motion.
One other suggestion, if you don't mind, between individual and contact in the second paragraph, individual public contact telephone number. Some people have expressed that they want to keep their private number.
Okay. And that change also.
Okay, so what that's stating is that the commissioner will receive a $40 stipend to purchase, maintain a use of an individual cell phone, and in receiving that stipend, the commissioner shall make available to the clerk the public telephone number associated with that phone to serve their constituents. That's how I understand the policy here. So is there any other?
This is be an addition to it, or this is what it already is?
This will be
a proposal.
This is a proposal at this time, but will this go into the cell phone policy of the county, or will this be a standalone commissioner policy, if you want to call it, or elected official?
It would have to be a standalone, because this would only affect the commissioners at this time. This is not for the public thing. It could be added to the ordinance, but it would not be part of the ordinance.
Okay.
It'll be it's even deemed a policy, not an ordinance.
Okay, so, all right.
I would say and or, just the option to either choose to receive a stipend or just receive a county phone, because it's this, so I guess admitting this, and if someone does not utilize a county phone, then give them a stipend.
We can't have the county phone is under the county policy, and we can't be under the county policy, so that's why it's cleaner to do a stipend.
You can if you decide to do so. And the North Carolina General Statutes, I think it's in 153, it states that commissioners are allowed cell phone allowances if that is a decision made, which is a decision the board made already. The board already agreed prior to today. Now, if there are those that are not interested in it and they want a stipend, they still are allowed an allowance. So you either provide the phone, because this would be an added cost to the county. The county has a contract. I think they can get a phone probably for $1, and then the services are still just provided.
The average phone bill is $35 to $45 a month to the county for all county phones.
The cost of the phone is $1. Is that correct? 99 cents. The cost of a device is 99 cents.
Well, you get them relatively cheap. I'm not sure if it's 99.
Yeah, or free. Some of them are free.
there's a lot that goes into maintaining that phone after it's given out. In other words, receiving it back, clearing the phone number, clearing the data on the phone. This way is a lot cleaner to provide that stipend. And I relate this stipend to our travel allowance that we're provided as commissioners. When we travel out of the county, we're provided a travel stipend for meals. You get a set rate for your meal. Whether you eat that meal or not, you get a set rate. Now, if you don't want that money, you don't have to submit for it. But every commissioner is entitled to that meal while they're out of the county. I feel like
I understand that.
Yeah,
I get that.
I feel like this stipend is the same exact. You're entitled to this $40 to provide a cell phone line. If you don't want it, you're by no means you have to take it. But this is the option to every commissioner is the $40.
That's what I said. So the option is there that you either accept the stipend or you just utilize the services that the county is already under contract for. Like if a commissioner doesn't want the stipend, they utilize the phone. And if you don't want the phone, you get your stipend.
Yeah,
It's not. That's still, we can, no.
The board has already decided to do it.
The board decided to do it, to make a policy.
And the decision was that if a commissioner, if Commissioner Woodburn, you correct me if I'm wrong, you said, in our motion, you said if a commissioner chooses to utilize a cell phone, that's what your motion was, correct?
Yes, my motion was that it's voluntary. If you want one, you can be included.
Yeah, that's what was in the motion. You
But
can't.
it was per the policy. Y'all still said check on the policy, and there was a policy out there.
Okay.
There was a policy.
I told you all there was a policy there.
Okay,
Y'all said it wasn't.
Yeah,
I said it was.
Mr. Ingram found that there was a policy there. So my motion is that we adopt the Anson County Board of Commissioners cell phone policy with the $40 a month going for payroll deduction with the 2 changes that was made in the policy to add it for commissioners.
While we're in discussion, before we make a second anything, now there's 2 things you said that's incorrect. One is commissioners are not allowed to utilize cell phones. That is not correct. It is lawful. It is a practice of all counties. That is the part of the reason for the county doing it. Now, again, I would rather just get my cell phone and keep $40 because leave the county with $40. This is like to me, I really don't understand and comprehend how something this minute can carry out for a month. I mean, you really just can't make me understand it. And because to me, it can't be about the cell phone. It just doesn't make sense to me that all the county manager has to do is say to the IT, order a phone. A phone that costs $1 to the county. And then it is not an additional cost because there is a contract. Union County commissioners have cell phones. You and I sat, I think, next to commissioners that had them, right? Didn't you and I sit in Winston? You don't remember, I'm not sure. You don't recall.
I remember sitting beside the Union County Commissioner.
Right.
I know she had a cell phone. I
Right,
do
right.
not know if that was provided.
She told
by
us
the
that.
county
Yeah, you don't
or
remember.
was it
Right,
provided
right.
by Stipend?
It's a practice. If you look at it, do your research, and then you wouldn't make those comments. However you all want to do it, doesn't really matter. I mean, I'll just go get a cell phone, and my motion would be the county keep the stipend.
Okay.
What's the point of giving a stipend? Nobody ever requested a cell phone but for me. So if nobody wants one, then we don't need $40 more.
That is where the board
you know what I mean?
off guard.
That's your motion, I'll second.
That's
Yeah,
correct.
I mean, if we're not gonna approve, I mean, but we could have done this a month ago. You know what I mean? Like
my second to let mine die. If that's
Yes.
what y'all gonna do.
I'm just saying, but again, so we're back to not doing the cell phones. That's all I'm saying. But it is already in place, and this is my problem with it. We've had commissioners who went and told the county manager not to do a thing. Went to finance and told them not to do a thing. No one commissioner
I had a consensus.
I didn't say who it was, so it was
I'm
you.
telling you it was me.
Right.
I had a consensus when I
Right.
said that.
But there is no consensus. If anything, I mean, once the county manager has a decision to make, he makes it.
All right.
Okay. So we have a motion on the floor to adopt the Anthony County Board of Commissioners cell phone policy that provides $40 stipend for cellular phone service.
I don't think.
Is there a second?
$40. What we get paid for?
Okay. So that motion fails. There is no second.
I make a motion that under the contract we currently have, county commissioners are included, as our last motion made, and if a county commissioner desires a cell phone, it's just added to the contract. I mean, it's already paid for. I mean, that's my motion. My motion is if a county commissioner desires to utilize a cell phone and the county manager sees it being feasible to make that decision, that it's provided.
Okay, so your motion, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I'm thinking that will call for a change to the personnel
Policy.
because it says
Specifically.
cell phones are supplied, but it says specifically not for elected officials. Is that what I just heard a few minutes ago?
No, it's not saying it's not. It's saying they're exempt to being held to the county manager. The county manager wouldn't just come to a commissioner and say, let me have your phone, like you may somebody in a department. That's what that means.
I was thinking the county manager said that the personnel ordinance says elected officials are excluded as far as cell phones are concerned. At least that's what I heard. Now, maybe I made a mistake.
It does read that way.
This current policy excludes, exempts, if you will, elected officials, i.e. commissioners, as well as myself as county manager and the county attorney.
So you have a county phone.
I do have that, yes.
So, right. It's not saying exempted that you can't have it. It exempts you from being held to the same standard of those. He works for the board. So he is exempt from that policy as it pertains to the access to the phone.
But the main policy says the county manager is one of the people that shouldn't have one, so if you got one, how is it being covered? That's all.
Because it has a contract, but the county, it's not saying he can't have it. It's saying he's exempt. He's exempt from the personnel.
There is one caveat I have to say is that under my contract with the county, it does say it will provide me with a computer, laptop, as well as a cell phone.
Okay, so his contract
States that,
but
yes.
the personnel policy
Does not.
doesn't say that.
So
that's where he gets one.
But basically what it boils down to is his contract gives him permission to have one. There is nothing stating he can't have one.
Your policy does.
His contract states he can.
But so we did a contract that broke our policy.
The policy for like the county manager, for example, and correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Forbes, but when you do a contract for a county manager, you put in there whatever's needed to get that county manager, not everything that they ask for, but the contract overrides the personnel ordinance because that contract is between the commissioners and the county manager.
Say that again. Say that part again.
If I may.
Go ahead.
If I may. I believe I understand what you're trying to say, and I would agree to a certain extent, except for a couple word choices, if you don't mind.
Sure.
Mr. Wood. You know, I respect you. I'm just.
I can screw up.
So, anyway, on this right here, he's exempted from the ordinance. That does not mean he can't receive other things through the contract. Is that what you were trying to say?
Yeah.
I agree with that.
And it's in his contract, so he's okay with cell phone.
Yes, sir. It just says he's not governed by this.
Right. Yeah.
But there's another mechanism by which he has received the items.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Yes.
We got a motion.
So my motion.
we have
That's
a-
what my motion was. His motion died. So my
Yes.
motion. My motion is that we amend our policy, as I stated last meeting, and it include commissioners. That's all my motion was.
Okay, so Commissioner Ellerby's motion is that we amend the cell phone policy to include county commissioners in that policy.
And those that may not want the phone still get the allowance. It's called a cell phone allowance. That's all it is. So if a phone is provided to a commissioner, they don't get a stipend. If they get a stipend, they don't get a phone. Same thing.
Okay, so his motion is to amend the cell phone policy to include elected officials and to offer the stipend for, and offer the stipend. The commissioner has the option to select the stipend or the cell phone.
That's all I'm saying.
Okay. Do we have a second on that?
Trying to understand.
That's a lot to understand.
My motion is that you have a choice between the stipend or a phone to include commissioners, to amend the policy to include commissioners. That's all. Because this is a policy of the county.
Where I'm lost at is the stipend part. I'll use myself as an example. I don't need either. I've got one cell phone. That's all I need.
Right.
And I don't need the money from the county to help me take care of it. So I'm
Right.
good. I'm good with commissioners having a cell phone. I got a little bit of a problem with stipend if you don't take a county cell phone.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. I'm not after a stipend. I was just saying, since we have the phone, it's there to just amend it to where commissioners are included. That's it.
Commissioner Woodburn, that is the majority of the board's consensus is that we don't need a phone, we don't need a county-provided phone, we don't need a county-provided stipend. It's been that way. I asked you last meeting, and you couldn't remember a commissioner who ever had a county telephone. That's why it was not included in the county policy, because there's been no need for it. So if we're developing a need, if we have a need, that's why we have to amend that document, because it's never been needed before.
It's not a need, it's a desire.
So,
because I'm serving the county, and I want to make that clear. No, I want to make it clear. It's not a need. That's why I didn't ask the county
I
to.
understand that. That's my thing. That's what my thing was. With us being commissioners being different, then that's why we should have a stipend versus going inside the county policy.
But it's not a county policy. It's just a policy that you make. We change policies all the time. We just did it tonight. It's a minute change.
That's my 2 cents on it.
okay. So, Commissioner Ellerby's motion is still there of changing the ordinance or the county employee cell phone policy to include county commissioners and to offer the stipend at their choice if they want it or not. Does that have a second? I'm not hearing a second, so that motion fails as well. So is it the board's pleasure to move forward with any type of cell phone policy or leave the policy as is?
Mr. Manager, was this, Mr. Manager, the cell phone, the policy that was asked for you to create, this was it, correct?
Right, that's what I was asked to do, something relative to a stipend versus what's on the books already. I just need to know what the heck to do.
Yeah, I understand that.
14 does in different directions, if that's appropriate. And I don't wanna tick off any commissioner or anybody that wants something. I mean, I was asked at the last meeting, I've done it in different ways because I've been in different jurisdictions.
That's right.
In different states, and everyone's different. Some do stipends, some just provide a cell phone. I just need to know what this policy is.
I would be open to changing the personnel ordinance to include county commissioners. I think it says nothing about a stipend or anything like that. I'm good with the commissioner, if the commissioner wants a cell phone.
So I make my motion again. I make that motion again to just include county commissioners in the cell phone policy.
In the personnel.
Yes, sir. That's what my motion was.
That I'll say.
Because it'll just go with the contract that they have. That's what I'm saying.
Okay, so we have a motion on the floor by Commissioner Ellerby to amend the cell phone policy currently in place, the employee cell phone policy, to allow county commissioners the use of a cell phone, or elected officials. That's your motion?
I said commissioners, included commissioners.
Okay, so include commissioners. Oh, and Mr. Woodburn seconded that. So now, Mr.
Before you vote, I just checked with their IT director. He says, this is the phone that I have for the county. I don't use it for personal purposes.
Right.
I have my own personal one, 2 different ones. He says that this is somewhere around $40 a month per phone. So I just wanted y'all to know that before you, if it means anything.
That's where the $40 a month in the stipend come from. We already knew what the phone bill was going to be. The issue comes in, we've got to purchase that phone, we've got to maintain that phone, we've got to repair that phone. At the end of the commissioner's term, we got to make sure that phone's returned back to the commissioners or to the county and is not personal belongings. That's where the issue comes in. There's a trail that comes with the technology that's given to the commissioners. The stipend is so much cleaner because...
And that's what I want is a trail. That's the reason I requested the phone.
So that stipend makes it cleaner that it's your property and you're paid for using that service. You're paid a stipend to provide a phone.
I don't want to be paid. I just want, because they have it in place, I'm requesting a device. Like these here we got, this costs way more than what a phone would.
That's right. And that was approved by this board to go to an electronic tablet.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So if we can purchase this, that's this is phone is a fraction of what that costs.
Okay. So we have a motion on the floor, second by Commissioner Woodburn. Any other discussion on the cell phone policy, amending the policy to include county commissioners? No other discussion? All in favor?
It would just be a standalone policy, right? Since they're exempt from the personal ordinance, it would just be a standalone policy. Just copy
With the
and
cell
paste
phone,
it.
just with the cell phone, yeah.
It'd be a copy and paste since we're exempt. Commissioners are exempt.
Changing the personnel ordinance to include county commissioners right now, instead we aren't.
It only includes us with cell phones. That's it. In person.
Just in that one piece.
Just that one thing. Yes,
Just
sir.
wanna make sure that, because we are exempt from the personal ordinance as
Yes.
county commissioner.
That's correct.
It just makes it, to me, I'm still gonna say the same thing. It's cleaner to do it as a standalone and not with the county policy.
Okay.
I do like the stipend. I mean, that's a, comparing the two, I just think the $40 stipend is gonna be $40.
cleaner.
And it's your phone after everything's said and done.
Yep.
$40. You can go out, look at them. You can get a cell phone plan for less
Jesus
than $40.
That's what the motion was. You can have the choice of $40 or the phone. So that's.
No, the motion currently stands that we amend that policy.
Oh, yeah, that's
to
right,
allow
that's right. So the $40
elected
is out.
officials.
Yeah,
Mr. Whitburn seconded it.
So can we vote on it?
Yeah.
Or we still
So is there any other discussion?
Just want to vote on it. It just includes us. That's it.
Okay. No other discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right. Now
Any opposed? I oppose it. I still support the stipend, and we can give the stipend to the commissioners if that motion wants to be presented.
But that's already been failed through, so I think we just move on now with your chairman report.
Okay.
Can I remake that motion? Vote on it.
It already failed. So
You
I
can
think
present another motion at that.
Is it- Attorney Forbes, can the motion be represented?
I apologize.
I'm sorry, can a motion that failed, can it be represented from another commissioner?
Just make it.
The same motion?
Yes.
Yes.
From another
On
commissioner.
the same subject, not the same motion.
Yeah.
Well, it wouldn't be
Same
fair.
subject.
Well, it would be the same as that motion.
Well, okay, in that case.
Yeah, so
I mean,
let's
it
just
is
move on.
what it's written, so.
No, let's go.
You can't, can you? I didn't think so, no. We'll say no, I don't wanna.
You can make your motion.
I apologize, I may have misspoken. Yes, if someone wants to if somebody wants to state a motion, that's fine. I mean, you know, it'd be up to the chair to call a limit on something, so you would not have a disruption to the meeting where the same motion's, done 10 times. I'm trying to accurately answer
Yeah.
this. But on a one-time occurrence, if somebody was misstated or for some reason, I would hate to say that you were forbidden from doing something like that. If it was something like if the board had an oversight or whatever, but if it's.
You can make your.
Do you have a motion to make?
I don't know what the reason would be.
I'll make a motion to accept as the manager presented to us the Anson County Board of Commissioners cell phone policy as stated with the amended motion of telephone being cell phone and also in between individual and contact stated as individual public contact cell phone. That's my motion to accept this.
Okay. We have a motion by Commissioner Leary to adopt the Anson County Board of Commissioners cell phone policy as presented with the two changes that he noted. Is there a second? I'll second that. So, any other discussion?
One question, this is voluntary on the commissioners, if somebody wants to.
Yes. Same as the stipend on any other travel that we do. If you don't want the meal stipend, you don't have to take the meal stipend. You're not bound. You don't have to eat that $12 lunch or $8 lunch, whatever it is. So,
But if nobody wanted a phone till now, why even take the money for a stipend for a phone?
that's
Well, if you don't want it, don't take it.
we're,
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. But I mean, it was never an idea thought of. So
we're trying to accommodate you, Mr. Ellaby.
I don't need that accommodation. Yeah, I don't need that. Let's vote. What are we
All right.
gonna do?
So, yes, sir.
I don't need a phone, I don't need a stipend.
There you
I wanna
go.
make that publicly known.
Yes, sir.
Same here.
All right.
Same here.
I don't need a phone, and I don't need a stipend, but it is general practice. I want to make that clear.
Okay. We fixing to vote on it.
We keep going back and forth.
Over something that's minute. That's what I'm saying. Like,
All right. So the motion is to adopt the cell phone policy as stated with the two changes. I seconded it. Is there any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Oh, yes, sir. Wait a minute.
With the two exceptions of the addition of cellular phone instead of telephone.
Yes.
And did you decide to go with, public contact telephone or public contact cell phone number?
Yes, that is the motion.
it ain't gonna pay anybody.
The individual public contact
Thank you.
cell phone number.
That's what we
Yes.
have.
Pay that $40.
Okay. So, all in favor say aye. Any opposed?
Got four opposed.
Okay, so there's 4 opposed,
Yeah.
three yeses, 4 opposed. Motion does not carry.
Does not carry.
So currently, I just want to state for the record, there is no cell phone policy that allows a cell phone for an elected commissioner.
Yeah, because we didn't go to.
Okay, so I just wanted to state that clearly. So, All right, Mr. Manager, does that conclude your?
Yes, sir, it does.
Okay. All right, moving on to the chairman's report. I just have one quick item. I wanted to make all the commissioners aware, I think you've already received an email. South Piedmont Community College will be holding a ribbon cutting ceremony as they celebrate the renovations of the Garibaldi building at the Polkton campus on Tuesday, February the 11th at 2:30 in the afternoon. So again, February 11th, 2:30, ribbon cutting for South Piedmont Community College. That concludes my chairman's report, so I'll open the floor for any commissioner concerns or comments. Yes, sir.
This is for the county manager. This doesn't have to be answered tonight unless you've got the information, but just bring it back at either the next meeting or the meeting thereafter. But the new middle school project, as we know that construction is underway. I'm not remembering an expected completion date, but more important than that is the balance of funds that's needed, because I think we're still on the hook for some of it. And if I'm wrong, then I'm glad to be wrong, but I'd like that information.
I don't have the, I think they're hanging drywall, if I remember right, that started here recently, so it seems like they're on the downhill slide.
Right.
I'm not sure if they'll be through in time for fall campus. It's probably going to be sometime next year, but it's my understanding right now that they may be a couple $1 million needed to complete the project, because I think they have actually, and I say this, I don't have it officially yet, but I can contact Dr. Ratliff to see. But in a meeting that I had with him and our finance director and discussed those things, there was going to be a need for additional money. And what they have right now, if you'll remember, is also was not going to provide for finished sports fields.
Right, yeah, I was aware of that. And I think there was also something else missing too, but I think there's, I'm trying to get it all clear in my mind, but if you would just get with the superintendent or whoever in the school system, Board of Education or whoever, I think it's important that we as Board of Commissioners know what we're on the hook for between now and when that project is finished. Because I think we still owe some money for them to finish it. I think what we had was not enough to get the project completely done.
Well,
and I may be wrong, maybe the school board is responsible.
I was going to say, I'll agree that they're not going to have enough money to do what all they want to do.
Right.
Obviously, they're going to come and request it, but I don't think we've promised any funds to them.
We haven't promised anything, but I just want to know what
yeah.
And it's good that you have not promised anything.
Yes.
I'm just being brutally honest.
Yeah, no, they have all the money that we have allocated or promised to the school.
Right.
But I do know that the conversations I've had with Dr. Truman, they are going to need some additional funding, and I don't know that number at this time.
Right.
Were they gonna pour the slab for the 7th grade wing, or not?
Yeah, the 7th grade's going to be there.
I mean, 6th grade. I'm sorry, 6th grade.
I do not believe the 6th grade wing is going to be completed for nothing. No, nothing.
It's that wing is not a part of the.
It has the capability to be added, but it is not a part of the project now.
Right. But
what it would be good to know as much ahead of time as possible if there's anything they're going to be looking to us for. Like you said, I know we've not promised anything, but there's certain things that we are responsible for. And if we put something in the category that we're responsible for, we need to know what that is, and as much as possible what the price tag's going to be.
What might not be a bad idea if the board agrees would be for us to invite Dr. Ratliff to come to maybe not the February 18th meeting, because that's going to be a lot of discussion already. I think we're piling it up, but maybe come to one of the meetings in March to give the board an update.
Okay.
If the board agrees with that.
Yes.
I think it's a good idea.
We can request the superintendent or the chairman, Dr. Truman, to.
Okay, or both.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, the next item is just information. The next couple items just information. The District 10 meeting, which we are part of, is Anson, Montgomery, Moore, and Richmond counties. The date has been changed for our meeting. I think the last time we met, I mentioned it was going to be April 8th. It's been changed to the 10th, and I thank our clerk, Ms. Cannon, for her diligence in making me aware. Well, I knew we were having a county commissioner meeting, but we also meeting with the board of trustees from the college, and that's the dinner meeting that we have. So The District 10 meeting has been changed to April the 10th, and it's from 5:30 to 7:30. The only thing that I can't say right now is where it will be held. We held it the last year. I will be checking with the other counties to see if, since the date's been nailed down, to see if there's any interest in another county hosting it. If not, then we'll do it again.
Okay.
Also, this past Friday and Saturday, I attended the North Carolina Association of County Commissioners Board of Directors meeting. The meeting went really well, but part of it, it ties back into the district meetings. They're asking the district directors to recognize an outstanding employee at the district meeting. So that's something that we'll need to be thinking about, and I left my notes at home. I'll bring them to the next meeting, and we can think. Basically, it's just like the employee of the quarter that we have, and then this is just something we can put out there. If we want to take that pool and try to select one out of that, that would be a way to do it, or come up with another employee altogether. And I would think the county manager and the department heads will be the ones that's in the best position to do that, and then bring that recommendation to the board approve it, and then I'll be set to go for the District 10 meeting.
Okay. So each county will present one county employee nominee, or
each district will, I know for a fact.
Okay.
Once that was put out there by the association, about like we have here, there was a whole bunch of discussion. By the end, some district director was saying we just need one from the district, and some was saying we need one from each county in the district. So
okay.
I'll go back and get those notes, and then I will follow up with the association to see how they nail that down. But I do know we've got to have one from Anson County. I'm not sure about the other
Okay.
counties in the district.
All right.
That's all I have.
Okay, thank you. Any other commissioner concerns? All right. Here. Oh, yes, sir.
The code of ethics that you sent, Attorney Forbes, I reviewed them. They look good. If you can just, I don't know if it's been pushed out to everybody else. If you push that out to everybody else, I'd love for y'all to read through them and then get it onto the agenda at some point, and we can talk over it and review it and hopefully make a motion to approve them. Y'all want to schedule, maybe look at reviewing it and then give 2 weeks, 4 weeks for review? Any idea of how long y'all want to review them?
If you push it out to us, let's include that on our second meeting in March, if that's, yeah. So that gives us basically 45 days to look at it. Okay.
I guess along that same line, just to keep it out there in the forefront, the rules of procedure, we need to get those updated.
Okay. So.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to talk. At the appropriate time, I'd like to tell the board that I will not be here for the March 19th meeting.
Okay.
That is my son's birthday, and we're taking them to the Hornets game.
I didn't want to go. I didn't want to go.
Y'all have a meeting, so I didn't invite you.
Okay, you have warned March 18th, or 19th, whatever date our meeting is.
I will be available on my phone. I was there last night too, so.
Okay. All right, any other comments or concerns from commissioners? Hearing none, I will entertain a motion to adjourn. We have a motion by Commissioner Little Reed, second by Commissioner Ellerby. All in favor say aye.
All right.
Thank you.